Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I already discussed about that things with you, how can dynamically updated our font logo. So right now I want to work in our font. So step by step I will cover each and everything which is related with our font. So like first of all, there is our logging and register. Right now that is actually the static data. So that's in our header portions. Like if you go to that header, right now I just remove all the things from here. Okay. Like that is our header, that is our font, and in our font that is layout, and that is our header blade. And into the header blade here you can see so that is actually the logging and the register. So now I want to add some of the link for this one. So it's pretty much easy. I think you can already know about it. Like here you have to define as a URL. Okay, and into this position I just define that URL as a that is slash logging. So that should be the for the our logging, and also I do the same things for our register. So for the register I have to define the register. Okay, I just define the register. So now let's check this out. I just click on the save all. If you now refresh that page, and now if you click on the login, so right now I'm already logged in, so we have to define the logout. Okay, now I just click on the login again. Yeah, now you can see it's now redirected to our logging page. And now I click on the go back, and for the register I just click on the register. Yes, perfect. Now it's redirected to our register page. So here I perfectly updated two of this link. So that is our two of this link is URL slash and the logging and slash the register. And then I want to do, like, if you go to the font and here there is already static, all that things is now visible on here. That means already static category. Okay, so I already created one of the category. Like here if you go to that positions, like here you see I just created one of the category as a sports, there's mobile and the football, cricket. And now here one things, like I already defined one of the status. So when this status will be the one, then it should be visible, and if you click on here, then status will be the updated. Okay, so then it should be status will be the updated with the 1 to 0. So if you go to our category, that means if you go to our categories, and into the categories here you can see that status is 1. Okay, so now I want to actually load all that our category dynamically on particular that position. For doing this we have to work in our app service provider. So first of all here I just want to assign it, and then I just want to get all that value. Okay, and then I want to actually pass that things with the view share. So first of all, doing this you have to do, like here I just take one of the variable. Okay, I just take one of the variable as a categories. Okay, I just define one of the variable as a categories, and here I have to define our category model. So here I just define our category model. Okay, I just define our category model, and into this position I want to put some of the conditions. Like here I just define the where condition, because I only want to update our status field, which will be the 1. So here I just define our field name. Okay, I just define the field name, and in particular that position I just define that status 1. And for the status 1 I just want to get all, so I just define that get. Okay, so here I just define that get. So I hope you can well understand about it, what exactly the things I want to do. Like if you go to these positions in our database, here there is a status 1. So all that status 1 value will be visible. Because if you want to actually make the things as a unpublished, so here if you click on the unpublished, I show you, then it's very much clear to you. Like right now I am already logged out. So here I just first of all logging, and then I just define as admin @gmail.com, and then I just define the password, click on the login. Like now I go to our categories, and into the categories, like there is actually mobile. Okay, so for the mobile I just define that things as unpublished. Now you can see it's now unpublished, and when you go to now the browse, and here you can see that status becomes 0. So all that unpublished status I don't want to visible that things in our category area. Okay, for the reasons here I just define that condition for the status. I hope you can well understand about it. So here I just define one of the conditions, only the one status value category data you will be get. So here I just defining it. Okay, and also I define our category model, so we have to use it. So I just define as a use, and then I just define as an app, and then here I just define as a category. So I just define our category model on here. And after that, we have to also assign that things on here. Like here I just take another one, but I just copy it. Okay, it should be just like the same. So here I just copy it, and it is the last. You don't need to use the comma, so remember that things. So now I just define our field name as a categories. So here I just define as a categories, and for the categories I just define that as a category. Okay, so I just defining it on here. So now first of all I want to show that this he get all the category or not. Like I want to visible it in our font. That is our home blade. Okay, like means here. So here I just want to actually print that things on here. Like first of all I just define as a PHP, and then I also want to close that PHP, that means and PHP. Okay, and in particular that position I want to print. So here I just define as a print underscore r, and then I want to print what? I just want to print our this, that means this value. So here I just defining it with this value. I want to define that array on particular that position. Okay, and that should be the semicolon, and in this position here I have to define that array. So here our array is the category, so I just define that array on particular that area. So now let's check this out, he get all the data or not. Like I just click on the save all, and now if you refresh that page, yes, here you can see he get all the data from our database table. Okay, and also he get all that our one status value data. So now here it's perfectly get all that our one status value data. So now we can actually apply that things in our particular that header area. So how can do that work? I will show you. For doing this, we have to do. So right now I remove it. So here I'll just check that things data is actually counts or not. So now I have to work in our that position, that means this part. So this part is on our header part. Like if you go to that our font, that is a layout, so that is our header. Okay, and in our header you can see there is all the static data. So now there's all the static data is now visible on particular that position. So now I want to make that things dynamic, like that is our home. Okay, so better I just define that name as a home. So first page will be the home, and for the home here I just define one of the URL. Okay, so here I just define that URL for this one, like as a URL. Okay, for the URL I just define that as a, it should be the slash, that means this should be the actually our main home page. So I just define that things for this one, and now I just remove all the things. Okay, so on particular that position I want to make that loop on here. So for doing this, like here that is actually all that our li. So that is our li. Before, better I just define that li, that is actually finished on here. So this li actually there is actually that more, you can see that actually the li. Right now I don't want to disable it, I just remove that things from here. So now I want to dynamically update it with one field, then it should be enough. So first of all here we have to assign one of the for each. Okay, I just want to make that loop on particular that position. So here I just define as a for each, and into the for each here I have to define, okay, like I have to also finish it. Better I just define that in for each. I just define that in for each on here, and into this position first of all here I have to define the value. So our value is I define as a this one, that means the shared data. So here I just copy it, and now with this shared data here I have to assign our categories. So I just define that things with the array. So our array is the categories, so I just copy it, and here I just define our categories. Okay, and now into this position there is actually for each. So here I just define as, so I just define as a as, I just define as to another value. Okay, so now right now I just define that value name as a category. Okay, I just define that name as a category, and now in particular that position we have to work. Like first of all I want to actually visible that name. So first of all that name will be our category. So here I just define with this category, here I just defining it. Okay, so that is actually the for each. Here I define the shared data, and in our categories I already get all the data with this one. So here I just define that things as a category variable. So now with this category I want to visible our name, that means this table name. Okay, that's categories name field. So here I just define that our field name. So with this category I want to define the name. So here I just define that name. And also we have to add the URL. So for doing this, first of all, here you have to do like I just define double second bracket and particular that position it should be the URL. And for the URL I just define URL will be the slash category. Okay, then it should be actually the slash category. I just define it category, and after that slash I have to do like here. After the slash also it should be the showing as by the name as a ID. Okay, so for now I just defining as a slash. So here I just define the slash, and after that slash I just take another one, and in particular that position I want to define with this category. I just define that our ID. Okay, so here you should be redirected to the ID. So here I will define that ID. That means on our category table, here you can see there's one of the ID. So for now, I just want to define that things on here with this category ID should be rejected. So that should be the word showing our category name. So now it should be work. Okay, now let's check this out. If we get any error, then we'll solve it. Like I just click on the save all, and now here I just refresh that page. Yes, now you can see there is a home, there is sports, there is a football, there is a cricket and golf. So all that category is now comes from our database area. And here we can manage that things from here. Like now that you can see I just make that things as a unpublished. So if you want to publish that mobile, so here I just define that published. So when I publish it, then this status is become updated. So that was actually 0, and when I publish, then it's become the 1, right? So when it's become the 1, then here I set up that things it should be visible on here. Let's check this out. I just click on the refresh. Yes, you can see now this mobile is visible on particular that position. I hope you can well understand about it. So what about the category you now created? Like here I create another new category. Like I just name it as a national. Okay, national. So this type of one of the news categories. So I just click on the submit. So right now there is national is published. So if you click on the refresh, yeah, you can see now it's added on particular that position. And also here I just defined the some of the URL. Like here you can see if you put your cursor, now you can see it's now showing as a category /1 ID. There is category /3 ID, and also there is category /4 ID. So in particular that position I defined that slash category and then slash our category ID. That means the category field ID name. Okay. So here if you go to that category, so category field ID 1, 3, the football for the 4. So I think it should be very much clear to you what exactly the things I did on particular that position. Now all our menu is now dynamically updated on particular that area. So now here if you also want to show your all that author, because literally we have to actually display our author name in our post area. So if you also want to display that author name, like here I already have some of the author. Like if you go to the authors, and in the authors, like there is the Ariyan and the Kazi. So how can display your author name in your founding area? In our next video I will show you that things with the live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.